Hi, this is your first self-directed lab video. Just a reminder that this video is just to give you some supplemental tips and suggestions for setting up and completing the lab. It is not meant to replace the directions. So please make sure that you've read the instructions and that you've completed all the different parts of the lab prior to completing the experiment. So this is the incline to roll lab. The incline to roll lab's objectives are for you to observe the motion of a little toy car somewhere that I have here as it rolls down a ramp. You're going to compare different angle ramps, the motion of the car for different angle ramps, actually 3 different angles. So what I'm going to show you in this video is just give you some tips on setting up the ramp, and I'm going to give you some tips for making some really good, nice measurements, because there can be a couple tricky things here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is gather your materials. You'll want your instruction sheet, data table, your notebook, and pencil, of course. For this lab, you're going to need a meter stick, a piece of cardboard that's actually going to act as your ramp, behind there, a protractor, some masking tape, 2 stopwatches, and some books or something to prop up your ramp. I use textbooks, it's the easiest thing. You're welcome to use that, or binders, whatever you want. So all those materials, have those materials ready to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and move my computer so that you guys can see what I'm doing for setting up this ramp. Pretty low tech, pretty straightforward. What I'm going to do is use the books to prop up the cardboard to create a ramp. Ta-da! So a couple suggestions is that you guys are going to have to end up measuring 3 different angles. So 1, 2, 3 angles. I highly recommend that you start with the lowest angle possible. So the lowest angle that you can use, and the car still travels the distance. That way you can move up from there. What happens if you start too high is that you end up with a ramp that's angle is way too high for the car to successfully travel. Because what's going to happen if you try to go this super high angle is that it's just going to hit the ground and just flop over or whatever. So it's not really going to work. So starting with a nice low angle is going to give you the best results. You're going to go ahead and tape the end of this cardboard. See how it slides? You're going to tape the end of the cardboard down like this. Okay. And then you're going to measure a point on the floor. You'll notice that I'm up on the lab stations. That's just because it's easier to film here. You're going to want to do this on the floor. You're going to measure a spot that's 60 centimeters out from the end of your ramp. You're going to go ahead and mark that spot with another piece of tape. That's going to be your finish line. So you have a finish line 60 centimeters out from your ramp. The next thing you're going to do is mark a start line on the top of your ramp. I usually just pick my start line as how long my car is. So my car fits right there. I'm going to put a piece of tape here to mark my start line. Okay. So now I have my ramp set up. I'm going to go ahead and measure what angle this is. That's the job of the protractor. What angle I'm looking at is this angle, the angle that the cardboard matches or makes with the table. Not this angle, not some big angle up here. I want you to focus on this angle down here. So make sure you line up your protractor here and measure your angle. So I've got about a 17-degree angle right here, which is a good start. Maybe even a little too high of an angle to start with, but it's good for demonstration. So I've got my angles set up. Now the next thing is that I'm going to, with my lab partners, measure the time it takes for the car to travel along the distance. You're going to actually take 2 times. The first timer is going to stop the timer when the car reaches the bottom of the ramp. The other timer is going to time all the way until it passes the finish line. That way you end up with 2 times. you're going to do a couple different measurements of speed here. So we've got 1 time to the bottom of the ramp, 1 time to the finish line, which is why you need 3 people doing this, a person to release and 2 people to time. This doesn't take very long once you get everything set up, so I highly recommend that you make sure that you've got good data. So if you mess up on timing one time, please redo the trial. It only takes a couple seconds to redo a trial. You want to make sure that these numbers are really good for your analysis. At the end, please make sure you clean up. So pick up your cardboard, remove all the tape, throw the tape away, put everything back the way you found it before sitting down to answer your conclusion questions. All right, good luck, have fun.